aláṣẹ láyé aláṣẹ lọ́run. Bàbá 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 kú iṣẹ́. Aláṣẹ láyé aláṣẹ lọ́run. Bàbá 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 kú iṣẹ́. Ìyanu tó ṣe láyé mi ní ọjọ́ mi lójú. Mo dúpẹ́ oore àná, mo tún dúpẹ́ oore òní. Oore rẹ tí kì í yẹ ìgbẹ́kẹ̀lé mi. Ìyìn ògo yẹ ọ́, mo ti ń ṣe níre pẹ̀lú mi kí kò máa ṣe.
Got a screenplay in your head but not on paper? Meet Squibbler, the AI script writer that turns your ideas into perfection.
and gentlemen, welcome back, welcome back. All right, so this is an impromptu session. I don't know, my spirit just told me to do this session. Hold on one second. Welcome back, welcome back. That was SB Live. Good to see you guys. So today is normally a day off, but well, I won't say normally, but it was supposed to be because we go live at 12 noon. But I decided, I saw this comment from our very own D a few minutes ago, so I thought, why not? Let me drop a quick coaching session here. Reality is that I had a coaching session and the person lost their grandmother, so they rescheduled. So I thought, let's just give the time away. So I was just scrolling through my comments and then boom, I saw D's comment, a very long thesis. I'm like, I'm not going to read this by myself. Just gonna put it out there because I suspect there will be some nuanced insights from her long thesis. So we're gonna do that. But my name is Ola, coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Over here, we extract life and relationship lessons from trendy topics. Our normal time, starting from tomorrow, is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been 12 noon, but to accommodate other situations going on, I've decided some opening happened, so I said to push it back to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every time we show up here on a weekday. Okay, so it says weekdays, but I can't. Unfortunately, I won't guarantee that for now. All right. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and make sure that my audio is working, because most of our Prestige family are not expecting me to go live right now, so it's understandable. They will catch it when they catch it. All right, so we saw this. Let me go ahead and share this page and then we'll read together. All right, so hopefully it won't take too long, but I suspect there will be some nuanced lessons, so I decided, you know what, let me just go live impromptu and do it. All right, so, and this is the post you're looking at, so we're going to read it together. You can download the books for free at manofprestige.com. It's also linked in the description box. All right, so let's get into it. So shout out to D. Shout out to D. She left this. Funny enough, I try to catch my comments within the same day, but yeah. Let's see. This is the second time he's saying this. Okay, that was a two-faced stuff. All right, so let me blow this up a little bit so we can read it together. So you can see the title of this impromptu session says marriage is an achievement. So D said, MOP, I've been catching up on you and Uncle Beno's lives. Uncle Beno is actually live right now, but like I said, there was a session that got cancelled, so that's why I'm doing this. All right, so I've been catching up on you and Uncle Beno's lives, and I noticed that you have brought up this marriage is an achievement talk several times now, almost like you're trying to convince people who disagreed to see it that way. All right, that's interesting. She said almost like, so I guess I'm not too absolute about it for her to say almost like, but I get it. She's picking up that I'm suggesting that it is an achievement. All right, so but let me all right, so now if people don't see that way authentically, they authentically don't see it that way, they are free to go and sin no more. That has always been my stance. Okay, that's always been my stand. So she's not incorrect. She's actually right.
Well, you're right.
Betty, I have a feeling. I have a feeling that there are problems. You see, a lot of these issues that we're dealing with in these topics, they are internal battles. So sometimes we are forced to take a stand on certain things, you know. But you're right, you're still right. We don't have to take a stand on what people feel, except if I smell that they're engaging this conversation because there's an internal battle. So at that point, it's more like I'm telling them to face front and admit it, because if they truly feel this way, there will be no need for an argument. All right. Funny enough, even me personally, marriage in an absolute, it's not an achievement. A good marriage, yes. I don't think anybody can cap about that. A bad marriage, an achievement, no. And we know that there's a sizable amount of marriages out here that are just bad. So I can't in my right mind know that and then make this statement an absolute one. So again, D, you're right. But I have a feeling you're trying to tell me something else. Because once I read that, I'm like, I know where she's going, but I'm not going to read it by myself. I want to bring in the Prestige family to read this with me. All right. Honestly, I think it's okay for people to define what counts as an achievement for themselves. I do think that too. Personally, I do think that.
Well, you're right.
I think that as well. You know, but I have a feeling that wasn't the issue. So let's keep reading. Maybe we'll get to what the issue is, right? I have heard both married and single people take either side of that debate. Okay. So what does that tell us? That tells us that it's not even a matter of, oh, it's because you're married that you're trying to sell us that marriage is an achievement. So that debunks that idea, right? Yeah, I'm with you so far. I follow. So at the end of the day, it depends on the individual. Absolutely depends on the individual, but I doubt if that's an absolute too. You see, there's a social construct, societal standards. Not just that, there's also emotional human needs of love and connection. There's also you can call it social construct, like I just said, but there's also a natural need to procreate. It's a natural need. It's not something that you and I decide. So is it really that individual? Not necessarily. Does that mean everybody can create children? No, it doesn't mean that either. Even biologically speaking, we know that's not the case. But it doesn't mean that an average person is not setting out in life to want to do these things, right? So oftentimes we would like to sugarcoat things to make it feel sweeter or sound better to ourselves when we know there's an internal battle that's going on. When I smell the internal battle, just like you smelled that I was trying to convince people that it's an achievement here. When I smell the internal battle, I'll just hit the nail on the head. I'll just say, no, let's just get to it. I know where you're going. No, you cannot sit around the internet and talk about marriage is not an achievement. You are wrong. You know why? Because I'm speaking to the internal battle inside. That's why I do that. Ultimately, if we take our human emotions out of it, is marriage absolutely an achievement? Of course not. Of course not. Because people do end up getting into marriages and end up being a bad achievement. How's that? So let me see. I think somebody is in the chat. 2YOK. Good to see. So it depends on the underlying meaning of achievement. Exactly. So, even when you look at the advent of AI, if you understand how that works, I don't want to bring it to sciences, but the information that it looks like is giving us sentences, answering us, is actually broken down into simple chunks in order to process it properly with the right context. So context matters, which is what 2YOK says. Marriage is an achievement depending on your yardstick of measurement. It depends, right? But if it wasn't an achievement, I don't think this would be an argument in the first place. I think also it became an argument because people have ended up in marriages and ended up in a place where they felt like, wow, this was a bad achievement. This was a bad move. I married the wrong person. Maybe I shouldn't have married. Maybe marriage is not for me. Unfortunately, that's just a life thing. Do you know that people actually say that about life itself sometimes? When they end up at a crossroad and they really feel sad, depressed, people start questioning their existence. Does that mean life is not a blessing? Yeah. So there's just nuances here that I'm sensing, which is why I decided to come. Good to see you too. Are you okay? Shout out to you. All right, so let's continue. So she said it's okay. I think it's okay too, as long as they mean it. If they come on the internet to argue with your destiny, then I will have to be forced to tell them, you know what, you're wrong. Marriage is an achievement. Because if you truly mean that marriage is not an achievement, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You will simply be executing life the way you deem it fit. Now, there's other nuances to this. Some people are pressured, seemingly unnecessarily, by their family members. Maybe they've crossed a certain threshold or age in life, right? And this pressure is coming too much from the uncles and the aunties, and that can make people say marriage is not an achievement. But I would like to address the pressure, not the lie that marriage is not an achievement. The reality is that people that are getting married today, when they're inside a wedding, they feel like marriage is an achievement. That's why they're doing it. That's more of the reality. And no matter how much we lie to ourselves, the truth is undefeated. It will come back and rear its face. You start shining in your face all the time. And then you have to deal with the internal battles again because we are shying away from the truth. Okay? Marriage is not for me might be more of an accurate sentence, but maybe it's just semantics, right? But I hope you get the gist I'm trying to say, right? He said, I've heard both married and so at the end of the day, it depends on the individual. I personally think that it depends. Both sides are true. You know what about that statement or that phrase? Both sides are true. I agree again.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, I agree to that one again. As long as we mean it. You know when it's a lie? When you say something and you don't mean it. You can lie to me, you can lie to it. I'm not suggesting that everybody is lying. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that there's an internal battle with people that have a tendency to argue this on the internet, particularly those that make it like some kind of statement from heaven. Those specifics, I would argue them down. Like, no, you're wrong. Tell me the rest of your story. What else are you trying to tell me here? You know? Let's see here. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Greetings to you too. Okay. All right, let's see here. So now MOP, not this Solomon guy again. So she moves on into Solomon. There's a deep nuance to why he gets so much pushback for his takes. You know what? I'll be honest with you, D. I didn't realize you were going to go into Solomon. I thought it was all about marriage is not an achievement. So I didn't read. I was like, no, I'm just going to go live and spend this last 20 minutes going live. MOP, now this Solomon guy again, there's a deep nuance to why he gets so much pushback for his takes. This man is likely by the manosphere, red pillars, feminists, or even gender war neutrals. I think it's more, I don't know. I think this guy is just, we need to create another community for the God-fearing men that are not really God-fearing men, but they're kind of like, they are proud God-fearing men, kind of like men in the gang and one Reno or Mokri and them, you know, those kind of people. Yeah, that's kind of more of the gang. I don't see him as a toxic person, so it's kind of hard for me to group him with the label manosphere. Not to say that everybody in the community manosphere is toxic, but that's what we tend to mean when we use those labels. Red pillars. If it was a red pillar, it might even be better. Feminist, maybe more. Maybe it's a baby feminist, not feminist. Maybe a baby feminist. Gender war neutrals. What is a gender war neutrals? Okay, gender war neutrals, meaning people I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you know how wild that is? For such polarized groups to find common ground just to drag someone. Okay, I see. And I think I have an idea where you're going with that. That alone says a lot. You just overthink us. Let's see. She said he initially pandered to feminism. I knew it. Didn't I say that? I think I said that. I knew he was a baby feminist, but he's adjusting towards the Christianity side a little bit. He's trying to figure it out. Told you, it's a young man trying to figure things out. He will get there. So I don't know how old this guy is. How old is he? Listen, when we're trying to figure these things out, we can come off as very confusing. Or confused, rather. So, and they eventually caught on to it. He pandered to feminism just to scam women. I think this is what Abi would have said. And they eventually caught on to something. He had no choice but to pivot. The same women he now constantly targets were the ones he used to slide into their DMs begging for money, pounds and dollars. Not even naira. He was that specific. Oh, wow. I know it was some kind of a Twitter influencer, right? From the early days of Twitter. Drugs and Apple products, even for money to fund his proposal. I just discovered him maybe less than a year ago, so I don't know. You guys might know him. The same Ife Dang, I knew it. The same Ife Dang he now bashes. He was once begging her for a relationship because of her resources. No shit. I did not know that part. I guess he thought feminism pandering was the way to attract rich, gullible feminists. Interesting. Okay, you guys know more than me, but again, as you can see, even without knowing the specifics, I can pick apart some of these issues, even without knowing the specifics. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. He then started pandering to men, but they were not having it at all. Brotherhood dragged him notoriously. They did. I missed all of that. That would have been interesting to watch. How can anyone take the opinions of such a flip-flopper seriously? When he oversteps, the Twitter big boys dare him to drag them. Who is a Twitter big boy? Educate me, I beg. Who is a Twitter big boy? He then recoils, but it is women he has the vim for. Do you think? But he just targeted. The last video I just posted on the Clips channel with Anthony Joshua. He just targeted Anthony Joshua. But I think I know what you mean. So it sounds like a person who doesn't really have their own stand. It's wherever float their boat at any point in time. But Black Diamond there's a Black Diamond that's on TikTok earlier on. Is that you by any chance? Good to see you, Black Diamond. Yes, Gbadibo as hold on. In fact, let me play music for him. I should have done this. Gbadibo and aka what do you call it? APC Bishop Ekene. Yes, Gbadibo and APC aka.
Mo sori kidi gba bi Brazil asewo. Ó wá sórí live mi on sọ̀sọ̀kúsọ. Jádánù then rapture with it and where you dey rap.
Yeah, they have raptured. Yeah, if you didn't mention it, they would have raptured again. Good to see you, Black Diamond. Anyway, so I don't know who. I've never heard of the Twitter. I know Twitter has a whole thing going on. So it looks like it's a guy who didn't really have his own frame, and he just kind of like he sleeps to whatever side. He's floating his boat at any point in time. He's discovering himself. It's okay. Why would we find him respectable enough to listen to? Once he's making it to Instablog Niger and he's addressing this kind of, we have to address him more. A man who said, because there are gullible people on the internet that will take random weirdos' point of views as gospel truth. So we need to at least add our own opinion into the box so that we can have enough data for people to vet through. A man who set his wife up for drugs and does not seem to appreciate or protect her. Yeah, that sounds like a boy. But he might not, maybe he just doesn't know. Maybe he will start discovering himself to that point. Am I too nice to him? I'm nice to everybody now. Abi? Yeah, I'm nice to everybody. Because trust me, people will mostly look at your results before taking your words seriously. Yes. There's a difference between pivoting and flip-flopping. Okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I think he's flip-flopped about 3 times based on what you're saying. Maybe he's still pivoting. We'll see over time. She said, reminds me of an old male Egbon who asked me about marriage anytime he sees me. I knew it. I promise thee, I did not read this part. Sometimes when you are open to say, let people choose their side on this topic, is because of the pressure. I understand. A lot of our uncles and aunties, they lack the emotional intelligence to know that they're not creating anything productive by pressuring people with their own belief systems. You know, especially not paying attention to the fact that even though you might mean well, you might have great intentions, you can still create bad results. You can still create the wrong impact, you know. So I know. So I get it. Now I get it. You might say, no, that's not why, but okay. Nonetheless, you're right.
Oh, you're right.
So she goes on to say, it was initially funny until it wasn't. He would mock me to my friends and mock older unmarried women to me, advising me not to end up like them. Oh, that's sad. That is sad. Now, I will try to remember to find a way to adjust this, because I do think the impact of that is greater than any impact I could leave on anybody who is already arguing that marriage is not an achievement anyway, right? So if a person feels the need to tell me marriage is an achievement and they're going around every show to say that, I'm not the one that's going to convince them. And I promise I wasn't trying to convince them. It just probably happened to be the conversation, right? But I know where they're coming from. And I also know that there are deeper reasons why sometimes I feel the need to say no. Like, I'm not trying to state marriage as an achievement, but I'm almost trying to say, don't sell us. You don't need to explain to us, to some of us at least. Don't explain yourself with marriage is not an achievement. Not everyone is going to be married. That's number one fact. Number two fact, not everybody is designed to be inside of marriage. We know many of them that are married and they end up collecting the wrong way. So we already know many of those facts. My point whenever I push against that is mainly, don't explain yourself. Keep working on yourself to the point you get to a point where you don't feel the need to explain yourself. Because guess what? Just like I couldn't convince anybody otherwise, you're not going to convince those uncle and those aunties. Even if you sit down, you explain to them, they just all these westernized ideas, they will just dismiss. They will be more dismissive. They double down. That's what they will tend to do. So don't put yourself in a position where you are selling the idea that, first of all, it's not the truth, because like you said, it depends, right? So it's not an absolute truth. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to do shalaye to these people. It's usually not worth it. So it's making sense. I promise I did not read this. See, I'm trying to sell you. I'm trying to do shalaye. I did not read it. No, I did not read it for real. But it's interesting that I suspected as much. He would mock me to my friends and mock older married women to me, advising me not to end up like them. I wonder why my marital status is of any bother to him. I think it's a social construct thing and the lack of emotional intelligence. It's not necessary. Trust me, the moment they leave you, they're not thinking about it much longer. So because of that same reason, you dismiss them. Just dismiss them like, I beg, but I familiar. Imagine if you stop. Me or marry, is it by force? Just say that and leave it alone. I say, like, don't take it too much to heart, because honestly, they're not, and it's not even worth it. Anyway, the way this man makes comments about his wife not being a speck to her face, cheats, and has made this woman so insecure that she cannot travel without him, and constant video calls him to confirm his location. That's definitely not the kind of person who should be bringing up marriage. He does not inspire it. Yeah, that's exactly what I suspected. A bunch of people in bad marriages thinking that they have the authority to be selling marriages. If you've noticed, if you remember, if you've been following me for a while, I always say I don't sell marriage. I just don't. Right? So I'm coming from that same standpoint. Don't sell me the idea that marriage is not an achievement, because it will be inaccurate, and I'm picking up that you're trying to tell me something else. Some kind of other internal battles, or deflecting from some kind of pressure coming from an auntie and uncle. It still tells me there's an urge to do shalaye, and only God knows how much internal battle you have to, because I know you're not going to be shalaye to an uncle and an auntie, or you're pissed off, you're at a family meeting, you're at a get together, or you might even shy away altogether from going to events because you start to feel like everybody's looking at you some type of way. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know how I know? Because I have sisters, I have cousins, I have people that are like that, and they experience the same thing. And I wouldn't want my enemy to experience the kind of pressure that they feel. So I get it. But my pushback is, don't sell us talking points that make you feel better only short term. Don't do that. Don't explain yourself. The same thing goes for single mothers. Don't explain yourself to weirdos. That obviously, why is it bothering you so much? Why are you bothered that I'm a single mother? Why are you bothered that I'm single? Right? Don't explain yourself to weirdos. Don't, because it shows up in every other area of your life. It becomes insecurity. It becomes low. It can effectively become low self-esteem. You feel me? I'm going to round up in a few minutes here. So thank you for shedding some lights on that, by the way. Hopefully I suspected there's some nuances to this. That's why I'm doing it. Okay. Don't come on the internet and be telling people marriage is not an achievement. There are other issues with that. You're trying to shalaye your status. Don't try to avoid putting yourself in that position. I know it's hard, but try. Because number one, the really reason why we need to keep going in circles and saying that is because it's clearly not absolute truth, right? It's the truth for certain types of people, and that's it. So I agree with the earlier take you have. It depends, right? But in the grand scheme of things, at the societal level, it's a big market. It's an achievement. That's why people spend so much money on weddings. Okay, so for every time you see a wedding, you have to convince yourself that marriage is not an achievement. Don't put yourself in that position. Try to avoid that. It's not just that phrase. There are other phrases like that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better, but it doesn't really help, you know. She says, back to Solo. Now he's trying to rebrand with the whole Christian family man aesthetic to stay relevant, so people don't trust Solomon Buchi. He's pandering to Christians. I will put his face on this thumbnail because we're now talking about him. I will update the thumbnail. He's pandering to Christians and traditional values now. Oh, so people they don't trust him. He doesn't have a side. He doesn't have a frame, essentially. He interprets the Bible for his benefit and gives no grace to others. Yeah, that was obvious to me that this guy is trying to come from an holier than thou standpoint. As why he picked up on just don't cheat, when in fact Anthony Joshua was not talking about none of that. Anyway, this is the same guy who once called IVF and surrogacy for people with fertility issues prostitution. Damn, that's a lot to say from a young man's mouth. That is diarrhea of the mouth. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm trying to be nice to Solomon. Brotherhood, okay? So no, I don't think he simply represents pressure, which he could very well represent. There's a long history, and we see through him, just like we see through VDM. And then she goes, drops Shalaye Mike. Have a blessed week, MOP. I'm really enjoying the content. Peace and joy. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, D. I appreciate you. We're gonna get there. And I'm talking about at a personal level. We're gonna get there. At a personal level, just focus all your energy on yourself, becoming a better version of yourself always. Okay. Anna says, thank you, MOP. Someone really needed to say this. I appreciate you, Anna. Yes, don't sell yourself. Don't put yourself. I'm saying putting yourself because it's almost like you're the victim, and I'm telling you to, like, I'm victim shaming you. You're not a victim of the aunties and the uncles. These aunties and the uncles is a function of their mindset. It's baraku. It's not gonna stop. Instead, I want you to build a strong case around you, because it doesn't have to be just single motherhood. It doesn't have to be that you're single beyond quote unquote you've hit the wall 29, 30. It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything else in life that people can shame you about. right? And shaming language have one purpose. Even though the weirdos that attempt to use shaming language, they don't know. Oftentimes they don't know what they're doing. So I don't want you to count on the fact that they are going to change. They don't know that they're injecting poisons into a relationship. They don't necessarily know, but I want you to know better. Instead, I want you to be dismissive about it. Just see them as ignorant. Okay? Because if you're not very careful, they can confuse you altogether, and you might see black and start calling it yellow. That's happening with the Gen Z generation. That's why a lot of people are pushing back also and saying, no, don't just shame us. Don't be super sensitive. We can't say certain things because we're trying to talk and everybody is sensitive. You don't want to end up on that other side. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with people. It's part of social intelligence. You have to interact with people. Instead, I want you to keep working on yourself so that you can build a strong case around yourself so that your self-esteem can do the defense work for yourself. If you become defensive, you come off wrong. You come off as not pleasurable. You come off as a bad experience for other people. And you might have defended yourself successfully when it comes to the topic of marriage, but what about other areas of life? Other areas of life where you are thriving, where you are a superstar. All those things can start getting tampered with because people start to see you as just defensive. That's how I see the baby feminists on the internet. I had to give them a name because I know that the ideology of feminism is not the problem. The baby feminists are weirdos, just like the 19-year-old and the overgrown adolescent 63-year-olds in the manosphere. They're weirdos because there's nothing positive. There's no balance in their conversation. I refuse to engage them. I refuse to. And if at all, I will listen long enough, make sure that there's a balance somewhere in their thought process. Some people say it's just on the internet. I disagree. It's real life. By the time you see it in real life, it's often too late. The internet is a function of real people. Don't get it twisted. So without any further ado, I'm just going to end this session here. If all we did today is that I addressed this topic just for Anna, just for Black Diamond, just for D, just for 2IOK, I think we've done justice. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Shaming language is poisonous. Oftentimes people that are shaming, they think they are instilling value. They think they are helping you. So it's of no use to argue with them. Alright, don't argue with them. It's not worth it. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time. We'll be back here live. Take care. God bless.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.